today in algebra we talked about one-step equations. These were some notes we took in our spiral, so if you want to add these, that would be a good idea. And this might be new for some of you and not new for others, but we do need to learn how to solve equations, so we're starting with the ones that involve one step. First of all, we need to talk about what an inverse is. So an inverse operation, the definition that you'll want to know. An inverse operation is an opposite operation. And it undoes something, so it's something that undoes each other. They're kind of pairs, if you will. Let's make a little chart. We're going to say the operation, and let's review its inverse. So the operation is add, then the inverse would be subtract. Those two are opposites. If I said subtract, you would say the inverse is to add. If I said multiply, I'm hoping you would say the opposite of multiply is to divide. And if I said to divide, hopefully you would say the opposite is to multiply. Hopefully you're familiar with those inverses. Now, our goal on these problems is to isolate the variable. Isolate means get it alone, get the variable alone. That's our goal when we do these problems. And we need to remember the golden rule. Similar to the golden rule of life, this is the golden rule of algebra, and that is what you do to one side, you do to the other. And when I say side, I mean side of the equations. Okay, we're going to look at several examples today so you can really get the hang of this. Number 1, if I say x minus 10 equals 4, I want you to look at your variable x. Remember that our goal is to isolate the variable or get it alone. Ask yourself the question, what is happening to x? It's being subtracted by 10. Okay, subtraction. What's the opposite of subtraction or the inverse of subtraction? It's addition. So I'm going to add 10. Golden rule says what I do to one side of the equation, I do to the other. Let's draw a line down the equal sign. That will help me remember which side I'm talking about. Now, because negative 10 plus 10 is 0, these two pieces cancel each other, and on this side all I have left is x. On the other side I have 4 plus 10, and that's 14. So my answer is x equals 14. And that's all there is to it. Let's look at another example. Let's try one with a fraction. Example 2. 2/5 equals m minus 1/5. Draw your line down the middle. Ask yourself the question, what is happening to m? It's being subtracted by 1/5. The opposite of subtraction is addition, so you're going to add 1/5 to both sides. On this side, they're going to cancel because negative 1/5 and 1/5 is 0. They go away. All that's left is m. On the second side, I have 2/5 plus 1/5. 2 plus 1 is 3. And the bottom stays the same. M is 3/5. Let's continue to look at some examples. Example 3. If I say x plus 7 equals 9, I look at my variable. That's x. I draw a line where my equal sign is, so I remember my two sides. What's happening to x? It's being added by 7. The opposite of add is subtract. So subtract both sides by 7. On this side, my 7's will cancel, and I have x equals 9 minus 7 is 2. Example 4. 0.7 equals r plus 0.4. Draw your line down the middle. What's happening to r? R is being added by 0.4. The opposite of add is subtract, so I'm going to subtract both sides by 0.4. On this side they will cancel, and I will have r equals. On the other side I have 0.7 minus 0.4, which is 0.3. r is equal to 0.3. Here, guys, it would probably be helpful for me to mention to you that you could check by reinserting what r equals. So if I start back with my original, I have 0.7 equals, in place of r, I'm going to put 0.3, and then plus 0.4. And 0.3 plus 0.4 is 0.7, guys. 0.7 equals 0.7, and that checked. You can always do that. I can plug 2 back in. 2 plus 7 is 9, and on and on and on. Let's look at some that involve multiply and divide. Example 5. If I have negative 4 equals k divide negative 5. Okay, k is being divided by negative 5. The opposite of divide is multiply, so I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 5. Don't let that negative trip you up. It doesn't mean subtract in this case, it's simply a negative number. It's being divided, the opposite is to multiply. These two pieces cancel, and I have k left on this side. On the other side I have negative 5 times negative 4, which is positive 20. And that's all there is to that problem. Let's try another one. If I have m divided by 3 equals 1.5. Draw my line down the middle. What's happening to m? It's being divided by 3. The opposite of divide is multiply. So I multiply both sides by 3. These two cancel. M equals 3 times 1.5. So that would be 4.5. That's the end of that one. I want to do 2 more. Example, what are we up to? 7. 7x equals 56 is my next problem. What's happening to x? Draw my line down the middle. What's happening to x? It's being multiplied by 7. Two numbers next to each other mean multiply. The opposite of multiply is, of course, to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 7. On this side, these two cancel, or reduce to 1, because 7 over 7 is 1. That's what I mean by cancel in this case. And x equals 8, because 56 divided 7 is 8. Last problem for today. I have 3/4 of x equals negative 12. Now this one is kind of different. I'm multiplying x by 3/4, but I'm kind of multiplying by 3 and dividing by 4, or multiplying by a fraction, which is tricky. To get it to cancel, I'm going to flip my fraction and multiply. So it's different when it's a fraction. You're going to flip the fraction and multiply. 4 over 3 and 4 over 3. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. Now my 3's reduced to 1. My 4's reduced to 1, and I just have 1x, or x, on this side. On the other side, I'm going to multiply straight across. Negative 12 times 4 is negative 48. 1 times 3 is 3. And that reduces to negative 12, or negative 12 over 1. I'm sorry, not negative 12, negative 16. I misspoke there. X equals negative 16. And we're done. Your assignment was a worksheet. Let me know if you have questions, and I'll be happy to help you out.